What's up, YouTube? Hope everybody's looking forward to learn a little bit about respirators today, right? Yay! So all it is, it's going to be talking about respirators, uses, filters, things like that. No tactics, not going to break down the proper position on a filter or on a proper position on a mask to be shooting, none of that. It's just going to be about use. So hope you People like buying gear, and preparedness minded people like to buy all the gear. I'm going to help you out when it comes to respirators, whether you already own one, looking to buy one, or think you have no need for one. I have been donning and doffing protective equipment for the last 25 years, with about a 7-year break in that time frame. I started in the military being part of an NBC response team. NBC or CBRN was not my primary MOS, but I was specialized in it. After, I worked for the Department of State and became part of the WMD response team. And then in the private sector, currently, I am part of a hazmat response team with good funding, equipment, and training. With my current level of certification, I get into a fully sealed suit that has a SCBA, mask, and a bell that rings when I'm running low on air. And all that stays at my office because I'd never be in an environment by myself while wearing all of that. So the question is, do you need a respirator? You may not, but it may be an essential part of your kit that you never considered. If you live, work, or drive through an urban environment, having a full-face respirator in a go bag stowed or in your office is a good idea. Civil unrest where CS or tear gas is thrown or OC is delivered, it's going to help. If you live in a rural area where they use chemicals as part of agriculture, or in an area where you have semi-trucks or trains that haul chemicals for industry, it's a good idea to have a respirator as well. If you need one, which one do you need? Half face, full face, a PAPR, or a SCBA? One with proprietary filters or one that uses standard NATO thread? What protection level do you need? Be as realistic with yourself as possible. Half-face respirators provide protection to your respiratory tract. A full-face respirator adds protection to your eyes. A PAPR, or powered air purifying respirator, has a motor that pulls air through a filter and forces it into a hood, which is good for children or people with breathing problems. And an SCBA is a self-contained breathing apparatus that is used in an oxygen-deficient or toxic atmosphere, IDLH, which we'll talk about. What filter do you need? Is it a 40mm thread, or is it proprietary to the mask that you own? Not all filters are equal to the risk that might be at hand. A common mistake is assuming one filter will work for any situation where a respirator is needed. But different airborne hazards require very specific types of filters, and using the wrong one can be just as bad or worse than using none at all. Let's break it down. CS or CN gas filters, tear gas riot control agents, are typically labeled for acid gases or riot control agents. They are designed to protect us against chemicals used in tear gas, so they are good for tear gas riot control agents. They're not good for organic vapors, industrial solvents, or toxic gases like ammonia. Why won't they work? Because CS filters don't have the activated carbon blends or chemical treatment needed to absorb volatile organic compounds, VOCs, or alkaline gases. Organic vapor filters are built with activated carbon, specially treated to absorb organic vapors, like paint fumes, gasoline, solvents, and pesticides. Good for paints, thinners, fuels, and many industrial solvents. Not good for ammonia or tear gas. They won't stop gases like anhydrous ammonia, which is highly water-soluble alkaline gas. It slips right through. Ammonia methylamine filters. For something like anhydrous ammonia, you need a filter that specifically says ammonia methylamine. These are chemically treated to neutralize very corrosive and penetrating gases. They're good for ammonia-based cleaners, fertilizers, and refrigeration leaks. Not good for organic solvents, acid gases, or riot agents. So choosing the right filter isn't optional. It's critical for the environment you could potentially be in. Check the label and understand the hazard. Match the filter type to the chemical threat, or don't expect it to protect you. Understanding the label is crucial, like N, R, and P. N means not resistant to oil. R is resistant to oil for a limited time, and P is oil proof. The number rating shows the percentage of particulate it removes. So 95 is 95%, 99 is 99%, and 100 is 99.97%. So that means an N95 is non-oil resistant with 95% filtration, and P100 is oil proof at 99.97% filtration. That's the filters that we use for abatement in lead or asbestos. Let's talk about filter colors. These labels tell you exactly what the cartridge protects you against, if you know how to read them. Black is organic vapors, paints, solvents, fuels. White, acid gases, chlorine, sulfur dioxide. Yellow, combo, acid gases plus organic vapors. Green, ammonia, methylamine, fertilizers, cleaners. Olive is a multi-gas, broad protection. It's a good fallback filter to have. Magenta is the P100 particulate, dust, lead, asbestos. Orange and red, mercury vapors and chlorine gas. A respirator isn't a magic shield. Some environments are so hazardous they're considered IDLH, immediately dangerous to life or health. That means the air is so toxic, corrosive, oxygen deficient, or explosive that even with PPE, you could still suffer permanent injury or die. A standard cartridge respirator won't protect you in IDLH conditions. Think about a tank lake of anhydrous ammonia or a confined space full of hydrogen sulfide. One deep breath in and you're done. These are kinds of environments that require supplied air systems or SCBAs and full hazmat protocols. So when you're choosing a mask and filter, ask yourself, is this situation survivable with air purifying respirators? Is the oxygen level safe? Do I have a way out if something goes wrong? Knowing your environment is more important than just slapping on a mask. A cartridge can only do so much. And knowing if an environment is IDLH is difficult. You need more tools and knowledge to help determine what you are truly facing. The NIOSH Pocket Guide to Chemical Hazards provides essential safety information on chemicals commonly found and the Emergency Response Guidebook, which helps identify hazardous materials. The NIOSH Pocket Guide is good for planning, training, and selecting proper PPE, while the ERG is for the initial emergency response and public safety decisions. The reason I encouraged myself to make this video is from all the videos that the YouTube autoplay algorithm was showing me, and I heard some things that seemed to be based on myth or from the media, just ideas of what a respirator can do. One of the biggest things is you see people with beards. So beards and respirators. I heard stories where people say, oh, you just put Vaseline on your beard, you put your mask on, and you'll be fine. First off, the timing, I don't think you're going to have a whole lot of time to lather up with Vaseline. But I still think it's a horrible idea. You're going to have to decontaminate yourself eventually, and having your face covered in sticky goo, but that goo is going to encapsulate whatever chemical you have on you. And you'll eventually have to decontaminate yourself, and you'll end up contaminating clean areas. Facial hair keeps you from having a good seal. There are chemicals out there that can be fatal in low doses. Hydrogen sulfide, H2S, is a sewer gas, lethal between 500 and 1,000 ppm parts per million, but doses as low as 10 to 500 parts per million can cause severe respiratory distress and permanent damage. Having a good seal on your respirator is key, and the cool guy operator beard could be detrimental. Fitness is also something very important. If you have a hard time breathing walking up a flight of stairs, imagine doing anything breathing through a straw. To be on a response team, you have to have a physical, and you need to be cleared by a doctor before ever putting the mask on, and that's yearly. So be advised, thick boys out there, if you're going to buy and properly use a respirator, get some cardio. And smokers, putting on a respirator is going to be a COPD simulator. And also smokers who have an SCBA, the supplied air, they're going to use about 25% more air than non-smokers. Training is key. I have biannual training to keep my certifications. If you don't want to pay out of pocket, you can volunteer. There are county cert teams out there. They have programs where you can get a 40-hour HAZWOPER, or you can see if your place of business offers any training or they have some kind of decon team. And this is a good way to get free training and free gear. A fit test is also important. You need to know how and if you have a seal. Remember, a respirator is a tool, it's not a shield. Know your hazards, know your limits, and train with your equipment. So these are some of my respirators that I own. They're all full face respirators. They're all 40 millimeter NATO thread canister style filters. I'm just going to go through them a little bit. I have an older Parcel Safety respirator. So I've done a lot with this. I used to use a lot of P100 magenta filters for abatement, industrial hygiene, inspections, things like that. But like I said, it still has a 40 millimeter thread on it, so I can use it for anything. This stays in a go bag with me. Usually travel around with it. I hold it out, it's a little bit dusty. But typically I have it staged inside of a bag. So I'm going to take the harness, I'm going to have it wrapped around the front of the mask. So if I get into a situation where I need to pop this on, so I just put it on my face, make a seal, stretch the harness over, tighten it down. One thing I don't like about it is it's difficult if I had to purge. So purging gas masks is part of donning them. Don't think I'm going to get into too much detail with that. So I work in an area that is considered to be a large city. I also have to do a lot of travel for work. I end up driving around through different areas, and I could get caught up in a situation where someone might be dispersing crowds with riot control agents. So that's why I have a respirator. Just my thing, right? The one I keep at my house, I have this Mira Safety. So also I like Mira products. You know, say what you will about their plates. I own their plates. I like those as well. But Mira Safety mask, I like it. So there is a little thing. So the cup, the inside cup that you wrap your face on, seems to be a little bit smaller for me compared to the Parcel Safety. So I do feel a little bit better when I throw on the Parcel, just a little bit better coverage. And like I said, this I'm going to be really concerned with CS, OC, you know, riot control gases. So that's why I have this. You know, it'll work pretty good. And in all honesty, that's pretty much all my plans. So I do live around. They have trains and stuff that come through, and we all know what happened in, what was it, East Palestine, Ohio, when they had that train wreck and they're putting fumes off in the air. If you have the right filter, it's going to help out. Child size Parcel, and then this is a brand new Parcel Safety. Haven't done nothing with it, just got it. So it's cool. Not as tactical as the Mira, but whatever. I do keep a lot of filters on hand. So this typically is got a few of these. When you purchase a Parcel Safety, I think they give you these organic vapor filters. So it's supposed to work for acid gases as well, so riot control agents. These are pretty much put on for training. They're expired filters. So you strap them on, you get to practice when things if I actually needed one. But, you know, even having this one in my vehicle with that, I feel comfortable that would protect me against CS. But I do have new 3M Seaburn filters. So that's what these are. These are, 3M Seaburn. I have Mira Safety filters as well. And then I have a few of these. So Parcel Safety, and it lines out what it's good for. We talked about all the color coding and things like that. It also has it written down. So when you want to read, you know what you got. It's just one of those things that I see as practical for me. If you live in an area where you don't have to worry about any of this stuff, then why would you spend the money? They're not cheap. I was fortunate where a lot of them are given to me. So I've got a PAPR at my office that is all 3M, very expensive unit. So I wouldn't want to pay for something like that. But I'm given that for training. I'm given that if I have to respond to any kind of incident. So it's pretty useful. It's pretty nice. It's not very hot. It keeps you, I mean, when you're wearing a Tyvek suit and all that, it does get kind of nasty. But it does keep the airflow coming through. I don't know if you're familiar with PAPRs. It's one of those things where I wouldn't want to be in like a riot control area with a PAPR on my head. They would come off easy, and then with a PAPR, so with how the respirators work, you breathe in through this hole, and then you're going to expel through another. So they're all sealed. They have little seals on them. So you breathe in and you breathe out. With a PAPR, it's constantly forced air, and you have 2 layers of hoods. So you have an outer hood and an inner hood. The inner hood gets tucked into your suit, and all the air is just going to end up flowing through. So in between the 2 hoods, that's where the air is being expelled from. So it's negative pressure, I guess, positive pressure. That's going to constantly be flowing through to help keep stuff from getting in. For me, I would still be kind of concerned about something getting in. I got books. The books help me out. They're a lot. I do not know where my NIOSH guide is, but got a lot of stuff. Then that's if you know what you're dealing with. So a lot of times these can make you feel like, hey, you can do anything. You see a cloud of weird orange or yellow, green, whatever floating down the road. I'm going to throw my mask on and run into it. No, don't do that. Bad idea. So that's like, it's one of those things where I do see it gives people a false sense of security. Having stuff like this, if you don't know what it is, you don't want to be playing with it, right? So this is, hey, I'm in an emergency. Something's there. I need to go through it. There's no way around it. I'm going to throw on a respirator and I'm going to go. You're taking a risk doing that. So if you know the police forces are launching canisters of whatever, you can, safely assume that that's tear gas, and whatever mask that you, or whatever respirator with filter on it, just make sure you have the right one. Yeah, you'll be good for it, If you're putting the magenta P100 pink filter, which I had a bunch of those at one point, you put that on and try to walk through a riot control situation, it's gonna be a sad face day. You're gonna get that stuff, and it is not fun. I don't know how many people have experienced that in life, but it can be rather rough. So, get the books, get training. If you own a mask, know how to use it, practice with it, put it on, walk around the house with it, be a weirdo. It's fun. So, I hope this helps a little bit of understanding about these things, right? All right, guys.